Hey Web World, Scotty D, thanks for stopping by. It is Monday, March the 31st, 2014, which is the last day of the month, and I thought I would turn everything on today and have a nice, fun, casual conversation share with you today. But before we get into what I want to share with you today, let's get through some formal stuff here on the channel, and that is, of course, if you want to email me, my email account, scott@scottydonline.com, and if you want to tweet me or follow me on Twitter, the Twitter account is @ScottyD Online. Both of those are in the video description below for easy find and easy use. And if you ever wanted to get involved with my channel beyond just being a channel subscriber, I certainly do appreciate you being a subscriber and a follower, but if you ever wanted to get involved beyond that level, I have a way for you to do so. I have a Patreon campaign running right now. It's patreon.com/ScottyDonline. It's somewhere right here on the screen, and you can also find that in the video description below for easy find and easy use. Go on over, check out the Patreon campaign. If you believe in me, if you value what I do, and you want to get involved beyond just being a channel subscriber, that is exactly how you do it. Go on over, check out patreon.com/ScottyDonline. I have some perks and rewards in the campaign just for you, and those perks and rewards will evolve and change over time, but this is a brand new campaign I just launched, so go on over, check it out, patreon.com/ScottyDonline. So enough with the official formal stuff. Let's get into some casual conversation. So I have my coffee right here and my Marvin the Martian cup. I used to collect a lot of Marvin the Martian stuff a long time ago. I since stopped, and it's now boxed up in my garage. I don't collect it anymore, but I did start collecting something again that I used to collect a long time ago. I don't know why I stopped or when I stopped, to be honest. And to be honest, I don't know where my original collection is. It disappeared into the galaxy far, far away into some black hole, but that's a whole nother story and mystery all in and of itself. But I started collecting comics again. I wanted to read books, and I got a couple of books and tried to read them both on the Kindle and physical paperback books, and I just couldn't get into them. I don't know, maybe there just wasn't enough pictures. But I was always a big fan of comic books growing up. I thought it was fun. You get to look at this cool artwork and read the stories and really kind of escape into the world of the comic for a very short amount of time, short bursts of entertainment. So that was something that I found to draw me back into the reading world, but also into a collecting in and of itself. So I started collecting something that I was passionate about, and if you have been following my channel for more than just 2 seconds, you know I'm a big fan of Star Wars. I've been a fan since the very beginning, and I love the Jedi world. I love the Empire, the Rebels, the whole storyline of George Lucas put together. So I started collecting comics again, but I only am collecting Star Wars comics. So that's a little weird. I guess it's not really weird, because there are people out there that collect superhero comics, or they are into drama comics or mystery comics or whatever the comic it is that you like collecting, if you do collect comics. If you don't collect comics, then maybe this video is not for you. So I'm going to start doing this video, I think, once a month, because there's something in the comic book collecting world, if you're really serious about collecting comics, called a pull list. And if you are already an avid collector, the term pull list will probably be nothing new to you. But if you are new to collecting comics, then good on you. Welcome to the world of collecting comics. And there's such a thing called a pull list. And a pull list is where you set up a list of your favorite comics with your local comic store. And they will pull these comics from their inventory when they come in and set them aside, so you will guarantee get a copy of them. So every month I've set up a pull list with my local comic shop of my favorite Star Wars runs of comics, and they vary right now across one particular publisher, and that's Dark Horse Comics right now, because Dark Horse owns the rights to make Star Wars comics right now. At the end of this year, it's going to change because the rights to make Star Wars comics will roll back to Marvel, which had the rights a long time ago. So that's a whole other topic and discussion that we'll have down the road. But a pull list is a way for you to guarantee get the copies of the comics that you want to make sure that you have in your collection. So I have my pull list set up with my local comic shop. And every month I want to share with you my new comics that I add to my collection, as well as maybe some new techniques that have been added to protect and archive my comics, or something I'm doing different, and maybe something that you know that I don't know. And you share them in the comment threads, and we'll talk about them openly in a very casual conversation. So let's just jump right into my comic pull for the month of March 2014. And mind you, my collection is really small right now compared to some long-term avid collectors. That's because I'm starting over from scratch. So it's not going to be a big collection that I'm sharing with you right now, but it is, I think, a fun set of comics that I've added this month. Now, when I decided to start collecting Star Wars comics, specifically in my collection, I wanted to go back to the very beginning of Star Wars comics. And so I'm going to share with you what I'm considering my holy grail of my comic book collection in just a few minutes. But I wanted to share with you what I'm using right now to protect my comics. These are more current comics, and you have current age, you have bronze and silver age, and all these different ages. And I'll cover those as the videos go as well through each month. But so I'm using, for my current comics, I'm using right now polypropylene bags. These are from BCW. These are current size, which is 6 7/8 by 10.5 with a 1.5 inch flap. And these are really nice bags. They're not expensive. I'll put a link in the video description below where you can get these for yourself if you want polypropylene bags, or PP bags as the acronym is known in the collecting industry of comics. These are 2 mil polypropylene bags. Now, I like these for current comics. Now, some people say don't go with these, go with a Mylar bag. And I'll cover Mylar in a different discussion on a later video, because I think that it's a very subjective opinion on how you handle your collection. But polypropylene bags are, in my opinion, really good protection bags for your current comics, and BCW makes a good product. I've not found anything wrong with these things yet, so this is what I use for my current. Inside of the polypropylene bags, I use the current backing boards, and these backing boards are certified acid-free boards. And these fit nice and snug inside of these current bags. So if you're wondering how I protect my comics currently, this is how they are. Now, I am going to be adding some Mylar into my protection in my archiving, and I'll talk about why on those in just a few minutes, as well as how I'm going to do that as well. So again, these are the products that I'm currently using to protect my comics. And is it a perfect science? I don't know. I don't think that there's a perfect science to anything in collecting. I think that there's a very subjective, opinionated audience out there in what you can use. So if you've got ideas or you want to drop a comment, drop it below. I think that this is a great audience and a medium to share your experience in the comic collecting world. So let me set these off to the side so they don't get creased or bent or anything like that. Very important. These backing boards, some people say that there is a shiny side and a dull side. Now, this is the board itself. Now, I'm kind of rotating this around in the light. I can't tell the difference between the front and the back, so I honestly don't know if there's truly an appropriate side to store your comic on this. I usually just take it out from behind the label, and this is the side that is facing the label, and this is the side I place my comic on. So, and I'll pull one of my comics out of my bag, and I'll show you how I store it in a second. So, but this is my comic haul for the month of March 2014. It's quite a bit of a stack, considering I just got started during the month, and I'm having a lot of fun with 3 different runs of Star Wars comics. Again, I'm only collecting Star Wars comics, both old and new. So this is the Star Wars, they call it the Volume 2 Star Wars collection, a run of comics from Dark Horse Comics. This is the most current. This is Star Wars number 15, The Princess Bride. These right here, I liked these because they're using the original characters. So I'll just show you what I have here. Some of these are taped down, some of these are not. I do read all of my comics, but I read them very carefully. And I'll show you how I read them in a second. And you can yell at the screen and tell me I'm doing it wrong, or agree with the screen and say, good on you, Scott. Anyways, so this is number 15. You can see that the back is not taped down just yet. This shows you how pliable the polypropylene bags are. And the polypropylene bags are supposed to be good for around 5 to 7 years. The jury is out. Some people say it's good up to 10 years in storing your current comics. Then you're going to have to swap all of your bags out for new bags, and if not, the bags will turn yellow, and that can affect the comic itself. I don't know. I've not collected comics inside of polypropylene bags long enough to make a discerned opinion on that yet, but I think the ink and the paper that is used on current comics can withstand the polypropylene bags very well. So I'm just going to pull this one out of the bag so that I can show you how I bag these. Let me just set these off to the side. But this is, pull this out very carefully here. And I'm very careful with my comics. So this is the polypropylene bag. This is the board. And when I bag my comics, I will set my comics flat on my desk here. This is Star Wars number 15. I try to collect in mint or near mint condition, as close as I can get, both old and new comics. Obviously, with the older ones, the older you get, the likelihood of getting a near mint condition comic is going to be hard, but it is possible. You can find older comics in very, very good condition or near mint condition if you really, really do your searching and whatnot. But again, this is the Star Wars Volume 2 run of comics, and like I said, I've got 3 different runs here that I'm going to share with you. But I mean, look at it. The artwork is fantastic. There's Princess Leia right there on the front. Comics have come a long way from what they used to be. You can see really high-end graphics on the inside, some advertisements here from new comics, but look at that. That's phenomenal artwork. The storylines are usually pretty intense on these comics nowadays. It's a great way to get kids into reading too. I mean, if your kids are really not into reading books, get them into comics. It'll get them into the reading world as well as collecting as well. There's a ton of different titles and topics and things like that in the comic world. So real quickly, when I'm reading my comics, again, I try to keep them in near mint or mint condition all the time. So when I'm reading my comics, that's about as far as I let them open. I let a nice gentle bend to them. I do not crease the spines at all, and I just very carefully read them. And after I'm done reading them, I board them, bag them, and then tape them shut. I'm just going to show you how I board and bag one of these so you can see. Let me just move these out of the way real fast, and I'll kind of walk through the rest of the collection. So here is Star Wars Volume 2, number 15. The Princess Bride is the story in this one. So again, I take my bag, my board, and I will put my bag down on the desk with the flap up. So meaning the flap up is the flap of the bag is going to be facing up, and this part of the bag, the non-flat part of the bag, will be flat on the desk. So I will go ahead and I'll put that here. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. Yeah, you can see it here. Take the board and take your comic and place it on the board carefully. Make sure that there's no debris or foreign objects sitting on the board itself. And then I'll take the board and I'll have it like this, maybe about a quarter of an inch, half an inch, maybe an inch of board on the bottom sticking out. And then I will very carefully, at that point, slide that part of the board into the bag. So you can see right there. And then I will hold up the flap. Be very careful with these, especially if you're using Mylar, and I'll discuss this in a second. Once I get the board into the bag, I don't leave my fingers on the artwork too much, because then your oils and the moisture on your hand can actually affect the ink sometimes on the comic itself. But I'll slide it in just a little bit. And once I get the comic in, then I try not to press on the comic itself, because then you can start to crease the top of the comic here with the pressure of your finger and the moisture in your fingers. So at this point, I'm just pressing on the board itself, and then it's sitting in the bag like this. A little bit on the bottom, it's flush with the board on the top, and then I'll just give it a gentle tap, not a whole lot, but a gentle tap to kind of secure it in to the bag. And the reason why I do that is now you can see that the bottom of the comic is not touching the bottom of the bag, and the top of the comic will not be touching the top of the bag. So it's protected by the board itself. That's how I bag and board my comics. You might do it differently. If you do, drop it in the comment below. I'd love to hear some of your tips and tricks and how-tos. And then at that point, I have not read this particular comic just yet, so I'm not going to tape it shut. But if I had read it already, I will very carefully fold it over, and I'll put 3 pieces of acid-free tape, one here, and one here, and that secures that back flap nice and flat into the overall collection. So that's how I bag and board my comics. And let's see, this is the rest of the collection. This is all part of the Volume 2 collection. If you are a big comic collector, you know what I'm talking about, Volume 1 and Volume 2. There are different runs and different storylines. But so on the Volume 2, I'm missing the first 9 issues of the Volume 2. But I do have number 14 here. Really cool shot of Darth Vader and Obi-Wan right here in the reflection of Darth's helmet with some TIE fighters. A shadow on the Empire is the story of this one. And you'll notice here on the bottom, the barcodes are a little different. This is a newsstand released comic. And I do have a call into Dark Horse right now. This is the Dark Horse run of comics right there. I have a call into Dark Horse because of something I've noticed, and I'm trying to figure this out so that I can share with you so you don't have to do this. And that is the difference in the barcodes, because if you go to your local comic shop, or in the collecting world, it's called an LCS. So if you ever hear LCS or the acronym LCS, that's your local comic shop. There's a difference between a local comic shop direct sale comic and a newsstand comic. Not by the content in it or the artwork or anything. It's by the barcode nomenclature. So let me just show you what I mean here. These are both from the same comic volume. This is number 14, and this is number 13, right? So both of these are in the same comic run, so volume 2 of this series. Look at this. This is a direct sales barcode. This is a newsstand barcode. Now, it's real simple to decipher this one right here. This is an ISBN number where you can look up any book has an ISBN type number or barcode that you can look up and see what the comic is. But down over here is this 5-digit, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's not ISBN, but it's an identifier barcode to the book itself. But this 5-digit barcode right here on volume 13 is kind of a telltale sign of this one. Let me get this in the camera here. So this is number 13 of this comic. So down over here you got in this barcode 013. That's 13. So that's the number of the comic, number 13. This is the if there was a variant in the cover, typically that fourth number would show the number 2. If there was a variant in the cover, there would be a number 2 there, but there's no variant to this particular comic cover, so that's a number 1. And then number 1 here in the end typically indicates a first printing. So this is a first print of number 13 with this particular cover. Now, if they come up with a number 13 with a different cover, then you'd have a 0132, and there'd either be a 1 or a 2 at the end for the printing of that particular variant. So hopefully that helps with that. But when you're looking at a newsstand copy, you've got this 98 here, and there's no direct correlation that I can tell of that 98 to that number 14. And if you look at it, you say, well, that's the 98th version. Okay, well, that doesn't make any sense, because here's number 15. This is a newsstand copy. It has a 01 out of it. So I'm trying to figure out what the nomenclature is for the barcode, and as soon as I get that answer from Dark Horse, and again, I've already contacted Dark Horse directly and spoke to them, and they're going to get back with me on that answer. The person that I needed to speak with wasn't there in the office when I called. So once I get that, I will share that with you, and that way you'll know for your collection what that means. So again, I've got number 14, number 13 here. Just put this off to here. You already looked at 15. Let's see here. Again, it's real casual hangout today. Here's number 12. Really great cover on this one. Leia's Decision. Look at that artwork. This is number 12, and you can tell that this is a direct sale from my local comic shop. You can tell that by the barcode. Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, TIE Fighters. Really, really cool. And again, the reason why I liked this particular storyline of this Star Wars comics is because they're using the original characters. I've seen a lot of Star Wars comics where, I swear, and I could be wrong, it seems like they put characters in a book, put Star Wars on the cover, and they call it a Star Wars comic. Yeah, I've been a Star Wars fan my whole life, and I got to tell you that just because you start putting characters in a book doesn't necessarily mean it's a Star Wars storyline. But that's a whole other discussion all in and of itself. Here's number 11 of the Volume 2 series from Dark Horse. Again, this is the version from my local comic shop. And here is number 10. In Disguise and in Danger. And I think that's supposed to be Han Solo back there. It doesn't quite look like him. At least it doesn't look like Harrison Ford to me. But I haven't read this one. You can tell by the flap. It's not taped down. So that is my Volume 2 pull for the month of March 2014. But that's not all I added to my collection this month. This month being the first month that I started collecting again, I kind of went a little hog wild and bought some comics this month. So that is my Volume 2, and I'm really happy and proud about that part of my collection. And I also have one that I really am excited about, and this is a one that's only going to go up to 8 issues of this particular run. I believe it's 8, if my research was correct. This is the Star Wars and or the Star Wars, or however you want to call it. You can see it right there, the Star Wars. The reason why I liked this is this one was a little different in that it's based on the original rough draft of the screenplay by George Lucas. So I thought that was really, really cool. And even the artwork in these comics, and I've read all of these comics already, so they're already sealed. These comics, the artwork in these comics, the characters are the same as the original rough draft character drawings from Ralph McQuarrie, from the original draft pictures from the Star Wars screenplay. So when you're looking at C-3PO and R2-D2 and Chewbacca, and Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, all of the characters are based off of the original Ralph McQuarrie rough drafts. Not too inexact, because they couldn't, but they're very, 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 very similar to the Ralph McQuarrie drafts. And the storyline is directly in line with the rough screenplay by George Lucas. So I really like this one. So these ones, the Volume 2s, I liked because they're using the original characters in the storyline. So I thought that was really cool. This one I thought was unique because it's based on the original rough draft of the screenplay by George Lucas. So that was really cool. So when you're looking at some of these, and I've got all of these so far, this is one of the strange comics that has a number 0. Check that out. A number 0 in the run. And this is the... let's see it. There we go. I can't see right on the camera. This is my local comic shop copy, 00011. So that is the number 0, first rendition or first variant to this cover and first printing. There are a couple different variants to this number 0, and that would be indicated by the 4th number here of the number 1. You'd see a number 2, number 3. There are a couple different variants to this particular cover, and I happen to get the first variant to this cover. A very, very cool thing. So you've got, this is not even Luke Skywalker. So it's a different character, and I'm not going to spoil the storyline for you if you haven't yet read it. So definitely check out this line of the Star Wars comics from Dark Horse. I think this run in particular is one of my favorites because of the rough draft correlations. So that is number 0 here. Again, I've read it. You can see, I actually kept my receipt too. So down the road, I'll know when I bought it, how much I paid for it as well. Here is number 1. And there are a couple different variants to this cover as well. You can see based on the original rough draft screenplay. And you can see some of the characters in there. There's C-3PO. You can see that. You can see Chewbacca, very similar to the Ralph McQuarrie Chewbacca. R2-D2 right over here. Some different characters in here as well. And I'm not going to ruin which one is which because, I mean, these 3 down here are pretty obvious. But there's some characters up in here that you would never guess unless you read the book who that is. You never guess. Never. Never. Unless you've read this comic right here, you'd never guess who that is right there. So anyways, a really, really fun comic line to read. You can see the 3 pieces of tape back there. Now this one right here, let me just show you. I happen to have the, on the number 1 copy here, Star Wars number 1, the Star Wars number 1. I happen to have the newsstand copy and the direct sales copy. Check that out. Look at those barcodes. Look at the differences. A 27 at the back end, and then you've got a 00111 on the back end of that. So that's the differences in the barcodes, and that's what I want to find out directly from Dark Horse, what that number means and how I can catalog those appropriately in my collection. So once I get that, again, I'll share that with you. You don't need to worry about figuring out yourself. I'll figure it out for you. So there you go. My 2 number 1s there. Let's see. Here is the number 2 I love this cover right here. Again, great storyline. I mean, if you get a chance to get this run of comic, this The Star Wars from Dark Horse, it's a great storyline, especially when you think about it's the original rough draft. This is what George Lucas had in his mind when he was going to make the movie, and then it was converted to what we see and know of today. So there we have right there, The Empire Strikes. You can kind of see where that story was going in relation to the movie. Here is number 3. And it'll confuse the hell out of you if you actually read these things, because what you know as the episodes 4, 5, and 6, 1, 2, and 3, and then you're reading these, trying to figure out that into correlation, it kind of plays with your mind a little bit, but it's a really fun story to read. Here's the Desert Ambush. Got any idea who these guys are right here? If you're a Star Wars fan, you might be able to pick them out. Check out these lightsabers. a lot of fun on this. Again, I've read these. You can see the backs are taped down. A great storyline. This is number 3. This is the newsstand copy. You can tell by the barcode. Just a fun, casual conversation hangout today. I just thought I would share with you some of these. Again, if you're a comic book collector, this is the place to get involved and hang out, and we're going to talk comics. At least once a month, I want to, again, release a video of my pull for the month and share it with you, what I added, and maybe some new techniques I've learned along the way. So here is number 4 to the Star Wars run. You can tell that this is by the barcode, this is the direct sales, not only because it says direct sales, which is a local comic shop sale, but also by the barcode itself, by the 5-digit number here on the back end. So, really cool stuff. Anakin Starkiller with Luke Skywalker. Huh? Can you tell which one is who and which one is which? Do you know what that is right there? Read the story. I'm not going to spoil it for you. It's all about the fun of reading the comics. Here is number 5, the Star Wars number 5. Save the Princess, Save the Galaxy. Really fun storyline in this one. These kind of will probably look familiar to you if you are a big Star Wars fan. Do you know who these 2 characters are? Do you? Maybe you got it right, maybe you don't, unless you read the comic. Because this is the, again, this is the based on the original rough draft screenplay by George Lucas. Not what you know of in the theater. So you might know who that is, you might not. That is your The Star Wars number 5. My local comic shop sales copy. And this is number 6. This is where the story is currently at right now. And again, the rumor has it is this one will go up to number 8 before the year is up and Marvel takes back over the storyline and the rights to publish Star Wars comics. And at that point, I don't know what's going to happen to Dark Horse and the Star Wars line. I think that they've done a fantastic job up to this point with the Star Wars comics. It's sad to see that they're going to lose it after having it for many years, but it'll be interesting to see what Marvel comes back with. They've got some big shoes to fill, I can tell you that. So here we go. This is the number 6 of the Star Wars. You can see that. Anakin Starkiller, Lost in the Forbidden System. Dun, dun, dun. And this right here, you can tell it is the newsstand copy of the comic based on the barcode right there. So that is the number 6. And last but not least, so these were additions to my pull for the month. And again, some of those were bought newsstand, some of those were bought in local comic shop, and this month I set up my pull list with my local comic shop, so now I'm not going to have to go over store after store after store looking for my comics. My local comic shop is going to have them ready for me at the end of every month or whenever they come in. I'll be able to go in and get them directly out of my pull list, and they'll be ready for me at the register. But this one right here that I'm about to share with you, I had to hunt for. It is a very, in my opinion, a rare comic. Not rare that you can't get them, but rare in the sense that the condition that it's in, and this is my Holy holy grail in my comic book collection right now. Now, there's another one outside of this that I would consider my holy grail if I got a hold of it, but for right now, this is my holy grail in my comic list. This is the original first printing of the first original Star Wars comic from Marvel Comics. Right there. 1977 is when this comic came out. It says July, but it was actually printed, I think by my research, it was printed like a month or two earlier, and then they released it out in July of 1977. And this is the 30-cent cover variant. There is a 35-cent cover variant. This is in near mint condition. I don't even think that the person read this thing that I bought this from. I actually bought this through an auction. This is my holy grail of comics. I love this comic. I very carefully read it, and I showed you how I read with the nice, gentle opening of the book, just because I wanted to read it. I never even had this comic when I had my original comic book collection, but this one is my absolute favorite comic just because of the fact that it is the original. You enter Luke Skywalker. Will he save the galaxy or destroy it? I don't know. We gotta watch the movies and look how funny Darth Vader looks. He's green. The X-Wing fighters, the lightsabers, Luke Skywalker's lightsaber is not red, it's blue, but he's got a red lightsaber for some reason. It's just really cool to have this in my collection. And this is the first issue that was ever done in Star Wars comics, and I own it. This is cool. This is my holy grail of comics, at least for right now. If I got the 35-cent variant of the first print of the 35-cent variant in a near mint condition, I would then consider that my holy grail of comics. And you ask yourself, why the 35-cent? Well, there was a rare change in Marvel when they released this comic that they thought, well, let me try to bump up the price a little bit. And they bumped it to 35 cents at the time. And that one is more of a collector's desirable in the Star Wars collections than the 30 cent. Now, the 30 cent is still a very valued and valuable comic, especially in a near mint condition. Sharp edges, if you look at this thing, sharp, crisp edges, no creases whatsoever, no rips, no tears, no smudges. This thing is just fantastic for having survived that long in such great condition on that. So I love this thing. It's a near mint condition. So again, my holy grail in my comic book collection. So I hope you enjoyed my comic pull for the month. I don't know if I call this video every month my comic pull or if there's just some name you would rather me call it. Drop it in the comment below. But I thought that every month I would share with you my comics that I add to my collection and tips, tricks, techniques to bagging and protecting and whatnot. Again, I'm going to be getting into some Mylar bags, and that's a completely different bagging and protection method than polypropylene. And when I do get those, I will walk you very carefully on how to bag using Mylar, because this one right now is in polypropylene. When I got it, I unbagged it from what it was in, and I put it into a brand new bag with a brand new board because the old bag was a little colored because it had been bagged for so long. But when I do get it into Mylar, because these older comics I think need to be protected a little bit better, I'll walk you through how I'm going to do that, because if you do Mylar wrong, it will do your comic wrong, and I'll show you that again when I get in. So again, my holy grail of comics. Here is my my one last walkthrough of the haul for the month. Here is the Star Wars series, the Zero. Oops. Here's 0, 1. That is the newsstand version. Here's 1 which is the local comic shop or the direct sale version. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, if you're interested in my my newsstand version of my number 1, not my direct sales copy, my newsstand copy, drop it in the comment below or drop me an email. I will be more than happy to sell this to you for face value and shipping if you're interested. I don't need 2 number 1s. I just don't. I happen to pick up the newsstand version, and I found the local comic shop version, so I replaced it with the local comic shop version, the LCS barcoded one. That's my preferred one. But if you are interested in the newsstand version, again, I will let it go for face value, which is $3.99 plus shipping. And I will ship it exactly how it is, bagged and boarded. In fact, I will actually board the top outside of it, and I will put it in cardboard and ship it into you bubble wrapped. So if you're interested, cover value plus shipping, which I don't know what it'll cost you to ship, probably a couple bucks. So if you're interested, it's up for grabs. I just don't need 2 of the same comics in my collection. I just don't. So I'm putting that one out there. If you want the newsstand version, this one right here, this barcode, number 1, it is in what I call near mint condition. No snags that I can tell. I mean, of course, I'm not an official grader either, so what I consider near mint may be different than what you consider, but it's in great near mint condition in my opinion. So anyways, if you want it, it's yours, face value plus shipping. So anyways, that is about it. Here is the Star Wars Volume 2 versions, 10 through 15. I do have to find the first 9. I'm watching a couple auctions, watching comic shops. I'm here in the Pittsburgh area, hence the Penguins here. I'm checking out Steel City Con in a couple of weeks. If you're going to be out at Steel City Con, which is the local version of Comic-Con right here in Pittsburgh, if you're going to be out and about at Steel City Con and you see me, stop by, say hi. I'll be out there. Don't know what days I'll be out there, but I've got a 3-day pass, and I may go out there all 3 days. I may go out there just a day. I don't know. But I will be out there at least one day hunting and seeing what it's all about. It's the first time I've ever been to a comic conference, and I thought this one was really, really cool because it's local, and I wanted to check it out. So anyways, I thought that this would be a fun video to share my pull for the month. I plan on doing this every month, showing you my pulls and finds and that I'm adding to my my collection for that particular month. I'll probably do it on the last day or the last part of every month, waiting for the month to kind of ramp up of what I get, and then I'll share them all with you. Any tips, tricks, techniques, any ideas that I get along the way, I'll share with you as well. Any things that I find interesting, I'll share with you. And of course, if you want me to kind of showcase something on the comic pull video, comic haul video, I don't know what you want to call this thing, let me know. Drop it in the comment below. I love to hear from you. I'm very active in all the comment threads on all of my videos. So drop it in the comment below. You can email me also, just a little bit more private that way. Scott@ScottyDOnline.com is the email account. The Twitter account is @ScottyDOnline. As always, both are in the video description below. I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed sharing my rejuvenated hobby with you, and I just think it's a lot of fun. It really is. Collecting comics is not only fun for the passion that you have behind the storyline, but it's also kind of like a treasure hunt, right? Because there's those old comics that you're looking for, like the Star Wars #1. It's like a treasure hunt. You find it, and you're like, you hope you get it, and then once you get it in your collection, you're really excited, and then you can share those stories with people who are also equally passionate about collecting comics, because some people look at collecting comics and go, huh? And some people look at collecting comics and go, yeah, that's a cool collection to have, you know. So again, I hope you like this video. If you do, if you did, if you would, please give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. Also, comment below. Like I said, I'm very active in all of the comment threads on all of my videos. I love to hear from you. Share this video with somebody that you know who also likes collecting comics, specifically Star Wars comics or any comic, because I'm going to not only showcase my collection, but also talk about like comic news and things that is happening in the industry. For instance, I can tell you that in the Star Wars collection, there is an upcoming Darth Maul run of comics that is going to be a very short run, limited number of comics, not limited like in pressing, but limited number in the series that's going to be coming out here before the Dark Horse Comics company loses the rights to Star Wars. So I can tell you that that is coming up, and I do have that on my pull list. But I'll share with you other comic news that I find along the way, and I'm going to be interviewing my local comic shop. I'm going to be going out on location and interviewing the owner of my local comic shop. And I'm not going to release the name just yet, but it's a really, really, really cool name. And I'll be kind of teasing that along the way and letting you know when that interview is going to be coming up. I'm going to be going on site, doing a complete walkthrough of the comic shop, talking about the comic shop industry, getting the direct words from the owner of the comic shop, and just giving you kind of an insight to that world in that side of comics and collectibles. So stay tuned for that. Again, thank you for hanging out with me. I probably babbled way too long. If you are still watching the video, I do appreciate it. And don't forget, if you want to get involved in my channel beyond just being a channel subscriber, if you are a fan, if you like what I'm doing, if you value what I'm doing, if you see value in what I bring, consider becoming a patron. Patreon.com/Scotty D online. The link is right here, also in the video description below. Go ahead and check it out. If you feel so compelled after you look at the campaign, please get involved. I do appreciate every bit of your support. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, please do so. The subscribe button is somewhere here on the screen. Go ahead and click it. It's real fast. It's a way for you to stay tuned in and locked in every time I publish a brand new video on my YouTube channel. And if you already are subscribed to my channel, thank you so very, very much. Until the next video, you never know what's going to happen here. We'll see you next time, Web World.